What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So, I was going to get on live stream this morning, but my head was really pounding, and I'm not really in the right headspace to be streaming right now, just given that I have a headache. But in today's video, we're going to be going over the new home kit jersey that not really a fan of. Marc Cucurella also all but set to leave Chelsea this summer, with Atletico Madrid looking like the team that is most likely to get his services, on top of a tier list that will be happening at the end of this video. Just going over which players need to be sold, which players need to be kept, and just questioning why certain players are even in the squad in the first place. So if you like these kind of videos, you like football, soccer, whatever you want to call it, drop a like, sub, get in the comment section, get engaged. I read all the comments, I do all that. And without further ado, we're going to get started, bro, into this atrocious home kit, right? So let's go ahead and get. So this home kit, man, generally I buy the home kits just about every single season. And this is one of the first home kits where I might just stay away from. Now usually they grow on me as the season progresses, but this is one of the first ones where I'm like, I'm not necessarily sure how I'm feeling about it. I'm not a fan of the giant Chelsea thing in the middle, or the logo, whatever. I'm not a fan of it. So let's go ahead and show this. So, God, I'm just not a fan of it. So we pull over here. We see pictures of João Pedro in it. You know, we see pictures of Guillermo in it. Don't know who that is actually. Palmer in it. Yeah. Okay. And, I'm just not really a fan of it, bro. I mean, look at it. The giant Chelsea logo in the middle is what's really throwing it off for me right now. And it just feels like Nike just doesn't take their time and actually try to design a kit that signifies what Chelsea is supposed to be, right? And then we pull over here from JNR, right? It says Colwell, James, Caicedo, Esteval, Zhao, and Cole. These were the men's players used to release the new Chelsea kit, and it's not a coincidence. This is the core that they want to build around. And I'm okay with these 6 players here. I'm okay with building the team around. But you notice one notable admission from this, right? Enzo Fernandez. Now, does this necessarily mean that he's going to end up leaving? I still think it's a 50-50 shot that he stays, only because if Real Madrid don't come in for 120 million or match what Chelsea want, Chelsea don't have to sell. But if the player is pushing for the move, then you'll probably end up seeing a fee under 100 million to get that deal done. So another thing here, right? We can continue talking about this jersey, bro. And it's just it's just not a good jersey, man. See, it says no Enzo, no Marc Cucurella in the kit release, right? They're avoiding using him for a reason, because he's more than likely gonna end up leaving, but I think it's a 50-50 shot that he stays. But the kit that I'm really excited about, and I guess I can show this here too, right? You got Esteval here. I mean, I guess the only cool thing about it, I guess you could say, is what? The fact that Esteval's in it. You got Lauren James right here. You got Caicedo, Alyssa Thompson, Cole Palmer. I mean, generally, the players are what makes me like. The players are the ones that generally make me do go buy, because they do look pretty clean in them. But this home kit specifically, bro, I'm just not a fan of it. I'm just not a fan. Like, I do wish they took more time into actually getting a nice design on there. The slogan for it is "Can't tame us," because Chelsea is known as the Blue Lions. But I'm just not a fan. I'm really not. But this is the jersey right here that I'm actually pretty geeked about. It's the away kit. Now, our away kit a couple seasons ago, or the third kit, was like black and pink, and I was really and I was a fan of it. I still have it. I wear it pretty often, honestly, because I do like the pink Chelsea logo. I do like the horde or the vertical like Nike symbol, all that stuff. But this kit right here is probably one that I will buy, honestly. But the home kit is an absolute turn off. If I'm gonna rate it out of 10, I'll probably give it like a 4, honestly. This season's home kit was great. It was nice. The only thing missing on that was a legit front of shirt sponsor. So hopefully they can get that shit sorted because there's no excuse really for a team the size of Chelsea to not have a front of shirt sponsor. So hopefully they get that squared away. But my overall rating for this kit, bro, for the home kit specifically, I'm giving it a 4 out of 10, man. It could have been a lot better. You know, it could have just been a lot better, man. But give me your guys' thoughts in the comment section on this away kit. I mean, on this home kit, bro. I mean, I'm just not a fan, dude. I'm really, really not. So switching over to Marc Cucurella now, but before we do that, I saw this before I hit the record button, and this is something that I do think we do need to talk about here. Junior Krupi. Chelsea submit a package to Bournemouth for Eli Junior Krupi, the 19-year-old forward worth around 70 million to Bournemouth. Player open to move. Bournemouth set to reject proposal as they are holding out for a valuation of 85 million pounds. PSG and Arsenal in talks, but yet to reach an agreement. So let me go ahead and show my face here for this. Is this a player that Chelsea should realistically be going after for that asking price? Absolutely not. If you already had established players in the squad and you're going off and going to go get him, I'm cool with that. I'm fine. I've seen a lot of people talk about this, about how you shouldn't be buying young players if you don't already have established players in that position, which is true. We don't have anybody established in the front line outside of maybe João Pedro, Esteval, and maybe Palmer. But outside of that, you don't really have anybody that's established enough to say he can come in and make a major difference. He's had a good first season in the English top flight, and that's fine. That's great. But taking the jump from Bournemouth to Chelsea with the pressure that comes included with playing with a club like that, you need to be spending smarter, not just buying luxuriously. And that's what I think this buy would be, is you're buying a luxurious player when you don't have an established center forward, an established left winger, and Esteval still has a long way to go in his career, but you have that right hand side set, and you can put Palmer over there too for the next 5 to 10 years. Realistically, you cannot continue to buy these young players and expect them to hit the ground running. You just can't, because it's too unpredictable, and the way that we're spending is unpredictable. You know, we see reports yesterday of that there is money to spend, but you're going to have to sell a lot more players than just having a like tens of millions in your bank just to go get these players. You need to go get established players first before you go off and go get these young players with potential. We can't keep buying players with potential and then they stagnate at Chelsea, because at Chelsea you are expected to be hit the ground running and you are expected to win silverware. Is he ready to take that next step? We don't know that yet. So we can't continue to go off and go buy these young players like that, right? But to really give my thoughts here on him, right? I mean, Junior Krupi has had a decent season. You know, if we take a look at what he's done this season, right? Right. If we take a look at what he's done this season, man, I mean, in 33 appearances this season, he scored 13 goals, the most ever by a teenager in their debut season in the Premier League. He had 13 goals, no assists, 21 starts, and 12 as a sub, 5 yellow cards, and 52 shots. Now, you're probably thinking, well, Jason, why not add this player to the squad? I'm not saying don't add him. I'm saying you need to go get established players first, because he's had one season in the Premier League, and we just can't go spend 75 million on a brother that hasn't been here for 2 or 3 seasons yet. If he was doing this consistently over a 4 or 5 year stretch, fine, go ahead and go pay that kind of money, because he's proven it. He's proven in the Premier League, the toughest league in the world, that he can get goals. But you need a bigger sample size before you go off and spend 80 million on a brother, bro. And Bournemouth are going to try to get 85 million for him because of the potential he has, not because he's already ready made. He's 19 years old. Esteval's 18, right? You still need a bigger sample size before you start hitting these players with 80 million price tags, 100 million price tags. And that's the problem with the transfer market nowadays. Everything is inflated. Everything is based off of potential. That's why you see players move for 80 million, 100 million, 120 million, because of their potential, not based off what they've done already. So again, do I think Junior Krupi is going to end up at Chelsea? No, I don't think Chelsea are going to end up getting him. I think a team like, if he were to go to Arsenal, if he were to go to Man City, if he were to go to Liverpool, they have players already in those positions that are established. And even at Arsenal, who I think could use a left winger, right? Arsenal is already a ready-made team to go compete for the Premier League, for the Champions League, as we just saw on Saturday. And we're this close to actually winning the Champions League. They were one penalty away from actually doing it. So Junior Krupi going to Arsenal would make more sense than him coming to Chelsea. Do I want to see them do that? No, because I don't want Arsenal to get better. Obviously not, right? So again, this kind of thing here, secret source, again, we're keeping tabs on this page because he's been reporting a lot of stuff. He reported stuff on Jared Bowen yesterday, and we'll see if Chelsea actually go after Jared Bowen. I've seen a lot of people say don't do it. We should be absolutely going after Jared Bowen. I don't understand the logic in not going after him. But one of the main purposes of this video is Marc Cucurella, right? So we're going to pull over here to Instagram first, and I'll go over to Twitter after that. Chelsea are prepared to sell Marc Cucurella this summer, providing their valuation is met. Chelsea's starting valuation is 61 million pounds. Atletico Madrid hope to pay under 43, right? So again, we come over here. Atletico Madrid want to sign Marc Cucurella for under 50 million euros. But Chelsea are demanding around 70. A significant gap remains between the two clubs and their valuations. So my overall thoughts on this is Marc Cucurella is all but gone. Now it's just really a matter of, can they come to an agreement on the transfer fee? Because I'm sure personal terms have already been agreed. And that's something that you need to get done first before the clubs come to an agreement on a transfer fee, right? Even here, as reported, Atletico are closing in on an agreement with club-to-club talks to follow. Mark is keen on a return. Xabi has held contact with the player, but he will not stop him from a move. Atletico Madrid have been in touch with Marc Cucurella. And this guy posted this on May 25th. It is now June 2nd. So about a week ago, or about 6, 7, 8 days ago, this guy had already started talking about the Atletico Madrid move. This is my thoughts on it, man. And this is why I do believe he's already gone. And let me go full screen on this, man. Once he started talking about if Barcelona came knocking, his head was already gone. And with the sacking of Enzo Maresca, his head was already gone. His head was already turned. He was gone. He was so devastated that he left that his performances dropped. And it's why Atletico Madrid are saying, well, his performances dropped, so he's not worth 70 million euros because he's not worth that anymore. If I'm selling Marc Cucurella right now, I'm doing about 50 million. The reason I'm doing that is because you paid about 62 million to get him off the books at Brighton to bring him here. Didn't justify the transfer fee at first. But then over a couple seasons, he did justify it. This season, his value has dropped. 50 million is a fair asking price, and Chelsea really need to lower that 70 million valuation because if the player wants out, you need to do everything you can to get players that aren't supposed that players that don't want to be here, you need to get them out. Marc Cucurella, in my opinion, 50 million will get the job done. 43 is too low and 70 million is too high. Meet in the middle at 50. That's what I think that fee is going to do because personal terms seem like they're already agreed on. If the player wants out, you need to figure a way for him to get out. And 50 million is a fair asking price for Marc Cucurella. He's 27 years old, in the prime of his career, Spanish international, and he wants to go back to Spain. You need to help the player out, honestly. Like you really, really do. I don't think keeping him next season is going to do anybody good. So again, Marc Cucurella set to leave this summer. It's sad because when he was playing well, he was regarded as one of the best left backs in the Premier League. But the sacking of Enzo Maresca, the comments about going back to Spain, Barcelona, I think really had his head turned. So again, we'll see what happens over this summer if the two clubs can actually come to an agreement. But it looks like he's all but set to leave. And you know what? It's good riddance, honestly, at this point because his performances have not been good, and we can't continue to have players not playing well and then expect them to want to stay. Ambitions have clearly dropped. So again, we'll see what happens there, man. So here's another thing that I found as I was taking a cut that I found pretty interesting here. Enzo would prefer to have his future sorted before the World Cup starts. Chelsea insists they are not selling for less than they think he's worth. Now, let me just say this. Blueco. I'm not saying Chelsea. I'm saying Blueco. 120 million for Enzo Fernandez is not realistic. You guys need to bring down the asking price because the player wants out at this point. Real Madrid seem like the only team right now that are interested in trying to get a deal done. If the player wants out and personal terms are not going to be a problem because when Real Madrid come knocking, it's very hard to turn that down. They're going to pay him what he wants. On top of if Jose Mourinho is asking for a creative midfielder at Chelsea, the only creative midfielder we have in the squad is Enzo. So you need to get some type of transfer fee that is suitable for you guys, for Real Madrid, and for the player to get his dream move at the end of the day. I've always said this. A deal between 80 and 90 million, and if you want to put add-ons in there, you can do that to reach the over 100 million valuation that I think he's worth. 80 million plus add-ons, say 15 to 20 million, with Real Madrid winning the Spanish League, the Champions League, a domestic cup, he reaches a goals or assist bonuses in his contract would help with add-ons. But if Chelsea or Blueco do not get the asking price, Enzo's not going anywhere. And then you're going to have a player that is disgruntled, that wants to leave, and knows that the board is trying to push him out unfairly, in my opinion, because I don't think he did anything wrong. The only thing that I think he did wrong, honestly, was speak out publicly about how the team felt about Enzo Maresca leaving. The comments about him wanting to live in Madrid, I don't think are too big of an issue. I think the major issue is he spoke out about a manager that the club needed to get out, which I don't think Enzo Maresca even needed to leave in the first place, but that's another video for another day. But Enzo Fernandez, on the other hand, if he wants out and the relationship with the agent and the club have broken down, the agent is going to do everything he can to get his client out of where he's currently at. But what do I realistically think needs to happen? If you don't sell him, you need to pay Enzo what he's asking for. Otherwise, you're going to have a disgruntled player, and you don't need disgruntled players in the club. This club is already in the mud enough, and you don't need players where their heads are somewhere else. That's all I'm going to say on that, because I can go off about how I feel about Enzo leaving, but at the end of the day, if he wants out, he's going to get his wish, I think. So the last thing I'm going to do here in this video is go over the tier list of the players that need to either leave, get sold, or keep, or go out on loan, and ask, why the fuck are you guys even here, bro? Right? So let me go ahead and jump over there. I'll see you guys over there in 1 second. All right. So we're pulling over to the tier list maker, and I did this on a live stream, but I want to do this in a video because so I can take cuts and just give you guys like my explanation. I may not take any cuts here, but we're going to go ahead and get started with this, right? So I have 5 tiers here: keep, loan, sell. Keep, but if a good offer arrives, you sell. And the last one, get out now, like leave. No reason for you to be here anymore, right? So first player, Robert Sanchez. Now, people are going to say we should keep him, but this is my honest opinion on him. At this point, you need to sell him, because as good of the first half of the season that Robert Sanchez had, you cannot continue to, because his distribution with his feet is not what we're looking for. And if the game is really gearing towards keepers need to play with the ball at their feet and be able to just hit passes, like short passes, Robert Sanchez is not that guy anymore. His shot stopping ability, his command in the box, honestly, has gotten better. But for Chelsea really to have a decent spine, their first order of business here is to get an elite goalkeeper that can command the box. Give me 1 second. So it's like I said, Robert Sanchez, I think you do need to sell. Marc Cucurella, you sell. I mean, he's all but gone anyway. So that's what you need to do. He's had a good season and a half, but realistically, if his head is already turned somewhere else, you need to sell. Enzo Fernandez, you keep, but if a good offer does arrive, you sell him. And it pains me to say that because I think Enzo Fernandez is such an integral part into what Chelsea do, that if you sell him, you need to get the proper replacement in order to actually make sure that his goal contributions, his leadership on the pitch, and his dynamism in midfield. Now, he's not a physical midfielder, and this is where people really need to understand the kind of player Enzo Fernandez really is. You get 2 solid physical midfielders in the same team as him, he's gonna look insane. Now, Chelsea had a bad season, and he was one of the more consistent players in the squad. But the problem is that when your midfield is so wide open and cut open, and he's having to play in the 10, which I don't think he's an attacking midfield player. I think he's a box-to-box midfield player that can play more advanced in the higher areas of the pitch, and he's a creative player. So you need that defensive midfielder and a defensive structure for him to actually get the best out of him. So him moving to a Real Madrid would honestly make him look more of a world-class player than I believe he already is. So Enzo Fernandez, you keep, but if a good offer arrives, you do sell him. Garnacho, leave, bro. Just get out, please. Josh Achiampong, man. You keep him. It's already been confirmed that they are rejecting any offers for him, and I'm here for that. Honestly, Tosin, leave. Thaddeus Shill, sell. Chalaba, I'm gonna say keep, but if a good offer does arrive, you do sell him. Levi Colwell, definitely keep him. I think he's our best center half, honestly. And Chelsea do need to go into the market and get another center half that can actually play alongside him and develop him even more, right? Because he's our leader in the back. It was clear that we missed him this season, but he does have a few mistakes in him, obviously. But again, you get an established center half next to him, I think you will see the best out of him. Liam Delap, if there was a separate tier for Liam Delap, I would have been made that. But he needs to get out. He needs to leave. Asugo, I think he needs a loan, honestly. I just don't think he's ready for the Premier League yet. I think that you need to develop him a little bit more before you can say that he can step into this Chelsea first team, even as a squad player. Esteval, we all know how I feel about this brother. I think he's too important. I think he's has such insane potential, bro, to be one of the best Brazilian talents we've ever seen. So you keep him. Hopefully, his injuries, though, he can put that behind him and don't overuse him. Don't overuse him. Wes, there's no reason why this brother should be getting paid 200 grand a week. If Enzo Fernandez is asking for something north of 200,000 a week, why is Wesley Fofana getting 200 grand a week? Doesn't deserve it. Absolutely not. Jamie Gittins, I'm gonna say this: you keep him, but if a good offer comes in, you sell him. I want to see a little bit more out of him. I do feel like he does need another season because he was injured for half the season, right? So I want to see a little bit more out of him. But if a good offer does come in, you do sell him. Mark Gue, you sell. I think his time here is done. Malo Gusto, I'm gonna put in the sell category. Don't think that he needs to get out, but I do think you do need to sell him. Joro Hata, you keep because I think he's gonna be the starting left back or left center back under Xabi Alonso, and that's, in my opinion, that's what you need to keep him as because I do think he is a very good young player. Reece James, we all know, no way in hell this brother's ever leaving. Flip Jorgensen, get out. Romeo Lavia, I think his time here is done. Even though there's been some reports today saying that Chelsea are not going to sell him, I think they need to sell. I think they need to cut their losses, bro. Pedro Neto, this is going to be a controversial one, but I think you need to sell him. You need to get your money for him, bro. We can do better on the wings. And there's been people saying, big Chelsea YouTubers saying, I don't know if we should sell Pedro Neto. I think you need to sell him. We need consistency on the wings, bro. And he hasn't been consistent. He was very crucial under Enzo Maresca, but even when Enzo Maresca was here, he wasn't necessarily the most consistent player on the pitch. You know, when you don't score a league goal since December and your best moment is that volley against Fulham that saved our season last season, I think that you need to be more consistent on that right-hand side. He doesn't take enough risk. He does too many step overs. He doesn't shoot often, and his crossing could be a little bit better, especially if you're playing on the right-hand side and you're able to cut inside on your left foot. Those in-swinging crosses are so crucial in the Premier League, in my opinion, and you need somebody on that winger position that can take on their fullback, take shots from outside the box, and just take a risk, and I don't think Pedro Neto takes enough risk, honestly. Cole Jermaine Palmer, bro. Where do we begin with? Before I put him in my category, he's going to be in the keep category, obviously, but he needs to figure it out. I think under Xabi Alonso, he'll be able to get the best out of him, but he needs to be for him to be for in order for Cole Palmer to get back to his best, he needs a full preseason of rest, I think. And it's good that he didn't get called up to the England squad in the World Cup, which I've been predicting now since March, that the way that he's been playing, he's not going to get into that World Cup squad. Thomas Tuchel is not going to sit here and reward players for poor play and for not being decisive enough, not taking enough risk, right? Cole Palmer's form has dropped significantly. And you can make the argument that since January 2025, he has not been good. The purple patch in the Club World Cup was his was the run of form we saw the best of Cole Palmer. But since that point, he has not been good. He has not been good. But for me, because he's Cole Palmer, because he's him, you're keeping him. But this is the season, next season, that if he doesn't play well, you're going to probably see him in this category. But realistically, he's in the keep category. João Pedro, we already know. Chelsea are rejecting all offers. He's staying. And I think next season, Chelsea need to be more ambitious and actually be in the top end of the Premier League for him to stay. Andre Santos, I think you keep, but if a good offer comes in for him, you sell him. Mamadou Sarr, saw him play for Senegal against the U.S., had some good moments. He did look a little shaky, but again, I think you need to keep him on loan. You stagnated his development by bringing him in from Strasbourg as one of the January signings, but he was barely getting any game time. You need to have this brother develop. You cannot continue to sit here and bring players back in on loan and stagnate their development. So he, for me, needs to go out on loan. If this is Anselmino, I'm sorry, but at some point, bro, it's either he's going to be a part of the first team or he's just going to continue to be on these loan spells. And I think at this point, you keep him, but if a good offer comes in, you sell him, honestly. Axel Disasi, it looks like. We're going to put him here. Omega, I'm sorry, bro, but I'm selling him. I know he's supposed to come into the Chelsea first team, but I'm sorry. When you have players like Nico Jackson coming back and where Chelsea can actually go out there and go get a more established center forward, I think he needs to be sold. I think he does. Moises Caicedo, we all know he ain't going nowhere. If this is Kendry Paez, sorry, brother. Slonina will probably never see the Chelsea first team, honestly. And Tyreek George, he's a tricky one, but honestly, I think you need to sell him. I think that realistically, man, for Tyreek George, it's so sad that he wasn't able to get any game time with the Chelsea first team. But again, I think that a sale for Tyreek George is the best for both parties. So if I'm going over my tier list here, give me a second. So to go over my tier list here, I got Esteval in the keep category. I have Esteval, Josh Achiampong, Levi Colwell, João Pedro, João Hato, Reece James, Palmer, and Caicedo. In the loans, I have Isugo and Sarr. Sell, I have Robert Sanchez, Cucurella, Badia Shield, Mark Guiu, Malo Gusto, Romeo Lavia, Pedro Neto, Omega. I'm guessing that's Slonina, right? Yeah. And Tyreek George. In the keep, but if a good offer comes in, you sell. Enzo, who I wish I could put in keep, but I think he is gone. Chalaba, Jamie Gittins, Andre Santos, Anselmino, and get out category. Garnacho, Tosin, Delap, Fofana, Flip Jorgensen, Desassi, and Kendry Paez. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this tier list. I'll have it right here. Again, when you have play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. When you have 22 players in the basically the sell category, if Chelsea do not recoup a generational amount of money for these players, and they don't spend it in the right areas, people have been saying, watch how this summer is going to really go down. You're talking probably close to 400 to 500 million in transfer fees. And you're telling me that if Xabi Alonso can't get at least 250 of that, you're telling me that this squad can't be rebuilt? They need to get a spine underway, honestly, and they need to get a lot of these players out. Players like West should not be making 200 grand a week, being the second highest paid player. But that's the state of how this ownership likes to reward players for potential. I don't know, man. But again, let me go full screen here before I get on out of here. It has been a pretty long video, and I'm fine with that because I want my long form videos to really catch traction. But that's my list. I'm going to post it on Twitter as well for people to go ahead and take a look at this. One second here while I post it on there. All right. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to get on out of here. I got work to take care of today. My headache is actually gone now. Thank God. But go ahead and drop a like, comment, sub. I'm going to have shorts uploaded in a little bit from this video, and we'll see what's cracking later on in the news. Maybe I'll go on stream on lunch and see what else has been cracking. But until then, I'm Jason, No Filtered Chels. Drop a like, comment, sub, share this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.